$500 to $750. That's generally what I aim for when I am building a budget-oriented build. I've built a few of these now, and all of them have targeted probably the $700 range is generally what I go for, because that seems to be where I can get the most bang for buck out of, what I'm getting. So, you can target 500, but that can be a little bit more difficult. You might have to get some things used. It's not that bad. Actually, I highly encourage used, okay? Don't get me wrong. I highly encourage used if that's something you're willing to do. But if you're going for all new parts, between 500 and 750 is generally what I'd aim for. However, now let's switch over here. This is a PC part picker list. This is an AM4 oriented build around a 5600. I usually actually target a 5600X, but I couldn't find one. It was like $180, including a Wraith cooler. I'm like, what the heck? And a 5600 and a 5600X practically identical in gameplay performance, game performance, at least from what I was seeing. If I was wrong, you can let me know. But from the benchmarks I was looking at, that's about what you're looking at, right? They're being roughly the same. And I got a super cheap motherboard. It's a Gigabyte A520M micro ATX AM4 motherboard. And yeah, it doesn't have Wi-Fi built in, so we have to add a Wi-Fi adapter down here. I've done this a couple times now with different builds. This one's okay. This one's pretty nice. And then we have memory. And this is the issue. I bought my memory for my super beefy PC, which is really good memory, for like $120. That's DDR5 6000 with a super low CL rating. And yet this is DDR4 3200. It's not even 3600 with CL16, which, okay, so it's standard. It's pretty standard for DDR4, right? Pretty standard, but it's nothing like exceptional. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of listings for that, but 3200, that was super important. Cast latency is secondary after everything else. And it's 32 gigs. I'm generally trying to do 32 gigs. And I want you to just look here. Look at this over here. Which one did I choose? I had the PNY XLR8. Let's go in here. Look at this price history graph. This is from B&H, right? But just 13 days ago, it was $83. $83 11 days ago, and it's jumped like crazy. $70 45 days ago. A month ago, you were buying this same kit for $70. And okay, so there's been a lot of insanity happening when it comes to memory. I was seeing places that it was just DDR5. That DDR5 was the main focus of all this stuff, but I'm not finding good memory for DDR4. I'm like, what is happening to memory? I haven't looked into it. Oh, man, I haven't looked into it. But that is insane, the giant skyrocketing prices. Is that, if that's like, what's going on? Is there something wrong with imports? Is it because of stuff like that? What is going on? I don't know. I'm going to look into that today. I'm going to watch more videos, do some more research, look at articles, but I'm just making this. I just found out basically that this was happening like yesterday when I was looking at stuff, and I'm recording this video new today. I had originally recorded the same thing a couple days ago and I didn't upload it. And then prices have changed so much drastically over the past couple days. I mean, this one, technically, this has been over 10 days. Maybe, okay, so this one's been 10 days. Maybe DDR4 has gone more. Okay, let's switch. I'm going to go find a DDR5 and see what the price history looks like on that. Okay, so this is weird, right? Because this DDR5 kit, which is CL30 DDR5 6000, right? It's $140. I got my set of similarly spec'd RAM for $120, I believe. And so the interesting thing is that this, like, the Newegg has exploded, and it's at $290. Right now, Amazon's at $140. And so I don't know what's going on here. I wonder if there's, let's see, let's go here. Let's see. Now I'm wondering if this is not going to last. That's what I'm wondering. I'm really wondering if this price for this RAM is not going to last very long, but I'm not sure at all. I'm not sure at all. Don't trust me. Don't go out and panic buy anything. If this is going to get bad, it's going to get bad. And at this point, I've come to the conclusion that if prices get bad, kind of just have to wait it out, unless you need a system. Need a system. But anyway, let's get back to the topic. I needed to talk a little bit on the memory prices because, of course, it's kind of the topic of the video is what a budget system looks like, how to build a budget system or make a budget for yourself and get some parts together. And with the prices for memory being the way they are, it's difficult. It's very difficult. But anyway, I generally target between 500 and 750. 750 is kind of more, I generally want to think of it as a less of a compromise. So you're going to compromise on less performance. You're going to compromise on less storage, RAM, all of that. But 500 is when you're really going to be compromising on things like storage and RAM capacity and RAM speed and potentially your CPU. I know I built my sister a, sub $600 PC, and it had a 3056 gig. I'm not necessarily proud of this, okay? I'm not proud of this build. More that it was a time constraint thing and we needed to build one for under a certain price. And it was a 3600X and a 3056 gig in an AM4, of course it was AM4. I did do 32 gigs of RAM, but the RAM was super cheap at that point. We were able to get a set for probably like $50. It's at 120 for one of the best things I could find here. And 3600 is not even worth a decent price anyway. But yeah, it was something cheap that we could get reasonably soon, and it had low power draw, which she lives in a camper, so I wanted to do low power draw. That was one of the goals. That's why we did the 3050. Calm down, guys. Calm down. And that's why we did it. It was for low power draw. Anyway, so let's go over what I chose here again. I don't know where I ended up. I am sorry for the ramble. We made it to the memory. That's it. That's what we made it to the memory before I had to go off on that little tangent. But here we go. We have Crucial P3 plus 1 terabyte. Now, here's the thing. I generally want 2 terabytes in a gaming system. 1 terabyte will suffice if you're only gaming. 2 terabytes is where it's comfortable, generally speaking, for normal computer use as well as gaming. For me, I currently have 3.5 terabytes in my main system, and I believe I have 2.5 in my secondary, and it still feels like it starts to fill up real fast when you're doing productivity loads, or now that I'm recording videos, it fills up super duper fast with all of the data from the recordings and film, all that being stored on it. So I'm going to really need to look into mass storage solutions for myself, and maybe I'll make that into a video. But yeah, let's continue. So I usually want that, but I was trying to keep the price at my range. I want it to be definitely below $800 for something I would sort of recommend now, and below $750 for what I consider a budget system. And some people will probably disagree with me, but I'd consider below $750 is where it starts to hit a more budget system, more realistic goal for most people. And okay, I did the only thing that's currently I love. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this might be a little bit. I'm not sure what people think of this card, so it might be this card design. But I like the look of it a lot. It's got kind of that squircle, that square circle look around the fans, which I can understand not liking, but honestly, the vibe of the card is class, like pure class. You're going for a all black Office PC look, and it's a 2-slot, right? It's a 2-slot flat card. Sick. I love it. Oh, it looks good. Looks real good. At least I think it's 2-slot. Might be 2.5. Might be 2.5. But I love the look of this card, and right now you can get it for MSRP. And I have never been more tempted to finally get my oily fingers on a B580, but I'm going to hold off for a little bit longer. Oh, man. It's a frequently returned item. No clue why. Might be defective. Don't know. Anyway, yep. So you can get that right now, and that's pretty awesome. That's pretty cool. Okay, so back to our parts list. And then we have just a case, a decent case. This one has highly rated, and it is somewhat cheap, affordable. It's a fish tank style case. It's white. White doesn't always do it for people, so you can switch it out with something else. The case is kind of just standard, whatever you want. Whatever you want for a case is what you should get, honestly. Just make sure you're looking at reviews. Airflow is somewhat important, not necessarily terribly important for a budget build, as you're generally going to have all right cooling just from the fact that you're pulling less power for your system. And so you're going to want to make sure your airflow is all right, at least all right. This looks like it's going to be okay airflow, probably not the best. Its intakes seem to be lackluster. It's very crowded there if you look here. So I would maybe go with a different case just based off of that. But again, I could be wrong. That could be great, but it looks a little bit not amazing for that. So. But yeah, it's whatever your budget you want to be for your case. There are like super duper cheap, terrible cases for $30. That's what I did for my sister's build. That's another one of the things you have to compromise on. All right, so I just switched out to power supply just to be safe. I decided to switch to this $70. It gets you a C-tiered power supply. It looks like it's going to have a little bit of a difference when it comes to per batch things. And efficiency seems to not be quite what they claim. Apart from that, you're losing modularity. So it's not like the greatest, I will admit, but at least you're most likely not going to explode your system. That would be very bad. So, of course, you're spending $70 on an all right power supply that will get you through things. It has 650 watts, which is enough for every budget card for sure, and will be enough for a lot of the higher power cards, but it won't be doing anything close to a 5090. I would not do that. You usually want to leave a good bit of headroom, and I don't think you're leaving much headroom when you're using a 600 watt card with a 650 watt PSU. I think the rest of your system's definitely eaten through that. Just your CPU enough is enough to go above, even if you're running a 5600, so don't do that. But yeah, that ends us, in the end, with a DDR4 system, right? This is a DDR4 system. $800. What? $800. And this isn't like an insane system. It's a 5600. It's a motherboard without Wi-Fi. It's some, mid-range DDR4 RAM with 32 gigs of capacity, a terabyte of storage, a B580, which is good. Don't get me wrong, it's really good, and it's got 12 gigs of VRAM. That's why I choose it as the budget. It's $250, by far the best value when it comes to stuff like that. It destroys the 50-50 when it comes to value, in my opinion. But yeah, then you have an all right case, an all right power supply, and a Wi-Fi adapter, and you're at $800. And this is before operating system and an entire setup. Right now, right now it's not great. It's not great right now. But here's where you got to start thinking about some other things, i.e., if you're living in America. Micro Center, not sponsored, by the way, has bundles for generally they have bundles on RAM and CPUs, and this is generally how I do it. Like right here, we have a 7600X, a motherboard for $229. It's a B650E from Asus. I mean, it's a B650. Right, so it's not the B850s, but at the same time, you are still like right here. This one has a B850 for $100 more. Like, this is all right. Like, this is pretty good, right? I mean, you're not going to be finding AM4 really. Let's see. Let me do AM4. Yeah, no, you're not finding, AM4 systems. But if you're building a new system with modern hardware, Micro Center bundles, especially during the holidays, like once we reach Black Friday, Micro Center bundles are, a really, really solid choice. I did one for my secondary system, and let me tell you, that kind of worked wonders for my pricing. Anyway, yeah, so $800 for this, not great. Not great. This is about how much I paid for my system, which is leagues a bit better, my secondary system. And it's disappointing. This is where I really go, is it worth buying now or just waiting? And that'll be another video, a separate video on its own. But anyway, so let's say real quick, what if we wanted to do AM5? What is that looking like? And it's not looking any better, really. This is the 7600X because, the 7600X is the 7000 series. They stopped doing Wraith stealth coolers bundled in their things, I believe. At least the 7600X for sure doesn't, unlike the 5600X and 5600 did. So, and I added a Thermalite Peerless Assassin because, that's just a generally... Throw it in there, boom, it's going to work. It's going to cool anything, pretty much. Anything other than those crazy high wattage Intel CPUs. And an ASRock, oh no. An ASRock motherboard, it's going to be fine. It's 7600X. If you're planning on upgrading to 9800X3D, maybe there's some fear. I don't know, this one might be fine. I remember that being a little thing. I've never owned an ASRock motherboard myself, so I didn't really look too much into it. And then we have the RAM here, $140 for this RAM. It's okay price. Okay, it's not good. It's really not good. But it's all right, at least, somewhat. Now, let's look at its memory timings. What are your memory timings? It's not going to tell me the memory timings. Well, I'm unable to find its memory timings, but at least it's an okay price for DDR5 6000 CL30. And here, right now, look at this. We're doing a 7600X, a Thermalite Peerless Assassin, a B850 motherboard, 32 gigs of RAM, a terabyte, B580, same case. Oh, it's a Thermaltake Smart, that's why. Hold on. And okay, look. We go from 800 to 950 when we do that. We're now on AM5, stitch out things, we're adding $150. And I just, I would be like, I would generally want to do a 9060 XT instead of a B580. I would want the B580 to be the thing that's going in the $500 builds. But I don't even know if a $500 build is like reasonable nowadays. Like, let's try theory crafting. Let's go pretty much as low as like modern viability. All right, so let's do a new one. Let's do a 3600X, right? Let's just throw, this will come with a Wraith Stealth. I swear $100 is high. I swear I got this for like $70 for my sister. Am I crazy? This doesn't have a price history because it's only listed on Amazon. Okay. We don't need a CPU cooler. Let's do a motherboard. Let's go cheapo. Let's just see. This is the ASRock or an ASRock board. No memory. Not memory. Wi-Fi. Let's see. Let's go just super cheap. I always do 32 gigs of RAM, but for sake of this specific thing, let's do 16 gigs of RAM. I would rather do, okay, this is fine. This one right here, Corsair Vengeance LP16. This is 3000 megahertz, 2 times 8 gig. And you could always add another set of 2 times 8 gig, right? Does this have more than 2 slots? No, it doesn't. So you can't. You're stuck. So in that case, we're changing this out. Would it be cheaper to get a board with 4 sticks? Oh my gosh. Doubling your... It goes... That just hasn't been a thing for a little while on DDR4, I swear. Okay, and then we go to storage. We can get the 1 terabyte Crucial right there. Video card. Again, I'm going to do the B580. I'm just going to do the B580. I know. Some people might be like, why are you doing a B580? Because it's B580. Love that for budget. I absolutely love it. All right, choose a case. Let's just do that stupid cheap one. The Cooler Master Box. Wait, what? I read that wrong. Cooler Master Box. And the same power supply we did for the other ones, and no monitor, and we're still just barely below 750. What? What? I just, like, I would generally want this to be like $500 before going to use stuff. Maybe I'm just crazy. But I did systems for this price recently for this price. I mean, the GPU was worse because it was a 6650 XT, but it was coming in at $220, I think, what I got them for, instead of $250. So that's $30 right there. But I was able to get 2 times the storage, 2 times the RAM, a 5600X, and a much better case for both of these systems. I made 2 of them recently for about the same price for 2 of my friends. Whoa, what are we talking about? What is happening? I don't know what happened. Maybe I just got lucky when I bought it. But at the same time, I don't understand. I just don't understand. I don't understand. And that was just like, that wasn't Micro Center bundles. That was just buying things off Amazon. Almost all of it was Amazon. And it came about to this price for both of them. So I'm confused. And this is $1,000 for this one. This is like base level AM5. Not really getting much lower on AM5. Let's see if we get rid of the 7600X. All right, and let's try removing that 7600X, add a new one. Just go up here and do price low to high. You can get you can get an 8500G for $165, which is technically a tiny bit cheaper. And you're still spending above $900 to entry level on AM5. I mean, maybe this is just the way it is right now. Maybe this is just the way it is, and maybe this is how it's always been, and I'm just silly. And but I swear, this was not how it was not that long ago. So it's really interesting right now. I personally, if I was making a new system, I'd wait till Black Friday if you're in America. Again, so this is very US centric, and I'm sorry to everybody else. I'm not sure if events like Black Friday occur other places. I'm a poor little American boy. Look for deals, deal hunt, and if you don't have a reliable source for deals, buy used. Used is the method right now if you're on a budget, because right now PC prices, at least in the US, are not great. This isn't great. And nobody can tell me this is great, because it was better like 2-3 months ago by quite a bit. I mean, I guess it was near Christmas last year that I built some systems, and it was so much better. It was so much better. Oh, and I know a lot of people say that the sweet spot for, and I would agree, for value, money put in, performance gotten out, has generally been between $1,000 to $1,200 when it comes to the money you put in, how much you get out, the best you can do. And that would right now probably be like a system with a 9070 XT and a 7600X. Because, okay, a lot of people pair the 9070 XT and the 9800 X3D, which, okay, it works. It works. But you're going to be, I mean, I'm GPU limited on almost everything. Literally almost everything, unless it's really old. Or Minecraft with a 5080. And a 5080, again, it's moderately more powerful than a 9070 XT, and it can overclock to significantly more powerful a decent degree. And you can disagree with me. That's okay. I'm okay with respectful disagreements. That's okay. I'm not proud of my 5080, but it can do that. And I'm still CPU limited. So I would say 7600X is reasonable. You know, there's the X3D variant of the 7600. I'm not sure if that's necessarily beneficial to a huge degree in a lot of things. But 3D cache is always welcome. Always welcome. Always welcome. And, you know, you're able to do that. Like, all I would do here is instead of this 8500G, let's swap it out. Let's go back to the 7600X I had, right? 7600X. And let's switch out that B580, 260. Let's see what we'd switch it out with. I would want to do a 9070 XT, right? We can find them right now for 670, which is not terrible. I've seen it for way worse. All right, and we're at 1300. So between, you know, 1200, 1400 actually is the better price, the better point for that. And this system will do everything. Everything you could want. This system will provide, except for storage, which is still a terabyte. I did 2 terabytes in those systems. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. I feel like I'm pulling my hair out. I don't know. I don't know. I really wait for deals. Don't buy this high. Don't be silly me. Like, I mean, I guess it's easy for me to sit here and say that, having, you know, a good system, 2 good systems. But at the same time, this is not it, Chief. Not it. So anyway, I spent a lot of time this video recording and not as much time talking. So I'm not excited for editing this. And again, I'm not sure how long it's going to be. But yeah, thank you for making it through this crazy, crazy video. If you enjoyed, you know, provide some feedback. I would love to hear it in the comments. Share your experiences and your thoughts. And, you know, if you want to support the channel by subscribing, that would be awesome too. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, and I hope you have a great day. Goodbye. Bye-bye.